Today I pose a question. Are you prepared to venture into the unknown, the dark, the macabre, the strange, and sometimes weird? Are you prepared to venture deep into the paranormal? Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Into the Paranormal podcast. I am your host, Kevin Leonard, and with me, as always, Corey Beam. Welcome back, Corey.
Happy to be here. It's been a long 2 weeks away, but ready to be back and talk about some paranormal things and hang out a bit. Happy to be back.
How was the vacation? How was the road trip, sir?
It was good. It was good. Driving sucks. I think everyone knows that. I don't have to explain why.
Driving is fun.
14-hour road trips aren't great.
Were you by
Especially
yourself?
no, I did have my mom
Okay.
came with me, so that was good not to be by myself.
Bonding time.
Sure, we could say that. It was a good time. For those of you who don't know, I went out to Louisiana to see family. Very nice time, but not only when I got there, the state was on fire. Literally drove through part of I-10 on fire on the way there. And then I-10 on the way back, that hurricane had just hit, so trees were down everywhere. So,
Yeah.
but
At
other than
least you
that,
got back.
I'm here. I'm alive. And ready to talk about a pretty cool. Well, not okay. So not like Bigfoot. It's not Mothman, but it's a topic that is pretty good today, and it's basic. It's a basic ghost hunting paranormal investigation topic, but I think we were talking before. We got a few neat things to talk about beforehand.
Yeah, definitely. I got something that happened a couple of weekends ago, actually. It kind of goes along the past two episodes we've been talking about sea monsters, the resurgence of Nessie and the 50-foot sea monster in China. Um, in August, the weekend of the 26th and 27th, apparently there was like the largest monster hunt on the shores of Loch Ness. Several
Hey,
monster hunters and onlookers and quest goers uh, scoured Loch Ness in search of the mysterious creature. I don't know if anybody found anything. I didn't see that far into it. I will link everything in the descriptions and the show notes. But that's cool. I would have loved to have been there.
oh
I
yeah.
want to go to Loch Ness.
Oh,
Um,
who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? I mean, we know someone who has actually ridden on Nessie, though. Our good old friend Rob Demarest.
yeah,
Shout
he
out to
needs to come
Rob.
with us.
Oh, absolutely. Well, he's got the connections. He can get Nessie to come say hi.
Yeah,
As you know, but absolutely, how cool would that be? How fun!
yeah, that would be
What a
awesome. I mean,
great time.
yeah, yeah, I definitely want to go cryptid hunting, and I don't like to say hunting because like hunting is like with the intent to kill. Uh, cryptid looking for
Cryptid
or
looking for.
yeah,
I'm gonna go
yeah,
cryptid
that's
looking for. That's gonna be a
yeah,
new hat. Gone cryptid
yeah,
looking for.
yeah. But I definitely want to, and then that would be cool to see to meet that many people with the same interest and goals,
Oh,
in an iconic location. Speaking of Rob Demarest, October 7th, he was going to be in Corning, New York. So if you happen to be in that area, uh, look up, what is it? It is, um, I don't have the information in front of me, but he is going to be a guest at a ghost hunt in Corning, New York. I know the tickets are $89. I'm so sorry. It just I thought of it right then when you brought up Rob. But he's going to be in Corning, New York, October 7th. Go get yourself tickets. I will put the information in the show notes and in the descriptions down below. All the information you'll need, the website to get your tickets and all that fun stuff. Get your tickets, $89. Hang out with Rob. He's an amazing investigator, amazing person to hang out with. Tell him Kappa sent you.
Absolutely, and also he's a very difficult person to say happy birthday to. I tried, and he told me that I shouldn't be telling him how to live his day. So I told him next year I'm just giving him the finger. So that was interesting too. And weirdly enough, October 7th, we also have something going on. If you are in the area at Deltona, Florida, at the Deltona Regional Library, Kappa Paranormal and Into the Paranormal, we're having an event. We're giving a presentation at 11 a.m. Saturday. I said October 7th. Just basic paranormal stuff, talking paranormal, what we do, how we do it. It'll be a good time. And Kevin, that isn't the only thing that we have. Tell them what else we
No,
got going on.
September 29th, we will be in Kingsland, Georgia at the Camden Public Library doing a presentation. That will be 5:30 p.m. We'll be doing the Paranormal 101 talks, like you said, the who, what, why, what we do, why we do it, going over the equipment, giving you the rundown on everything paranormal, everything that goes down during an investigation. It'll be a good time for the family. I believe afterwards they're going to have a obstacle course for the kids. So that sounds like an amazing time. Again, that is September 29th, 5:30 p.m. at the Camden County Public Library in Kingsland, Georgia. So again, I'll put the links down and all that fun stuff. I'll put the dates down. I don't think there's a link to it, but if you follow us on Facebook and all that fun stuff, it's all right there. We talk about it, and keep following for future events and dates to look out for. To note, both of those events, the October 7th Deltona Regional Library, as well as the September 29th Camden County Public Library. Both events are 100% free of charge. So come hang out. It's going to be a good time. Meet Kappa, meet Into the Paranormal, learn a thing or two, or not. Who knows? It'll be fun.
It'll be fun either way. It'll be a good time. And we have another event coming up too later on. We're currently scheduling that and talking about that too. So we have a lot going on, and of course, battleships and hopefully more. Cap is busy, Into the Paranormal's busy. It is good stuff, and we're happy to have you along with for the ride. It's very exciting for us because we love the paranormal. And before we get to our main topic, I do have a pretty interesting story that well, not a story, more like a factoid, we'll say. But they said that hauntings and reports of hauntings were up during the pandemic, and while people were on the stay-at-home orders. Um, so could that
They
be
think
because they're you know someone in the article, I will say, made a good joke where they were having trouble staying 6 feet from the spirits, um, which I thought was pretty funny. I get, haha. But um, what is that because maybe their house did have activity and they were just there to realize it more, or were they just there at times of the day they usually weren't? Temperature differences causing popping noise, who knows? It's probably a mixture of both, but I found that pretty neat. So who knew a
that's cool.
pandemic
That's interesting.
would lead to people finding out their house may be haunted?
Yeah.
So
So, what are we going to be talking about today, Corey?
yeah,
Let's,
well,
like you said, let's go back to the basics and go over
back to
some
the
equipment.
basics. Equipment, right? I mean, now I don't know about you, Kevin, but when I got into the paranormal, that
But
yeah, when I started out, I had a camera, I had a voice recorder. That's what I had. I didn't use anything else because I was a tiny child with no money and I didn't know what anything else was. And the stuff you see now just didn't exist.
now we're adults with no money.
Now we're adults with no money, but we still have some toys.
Yeah, we
We
do.
still
We
have some toys.
because we because we have
That's
toys, we have no money.
we have no, yeah, exactly. That causes the money situation. Um, However, if you go to my OnlyFans, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh,
I don't have that. Don't
link in the
try to
description below.
yeah. Support us or support me. Kevin's not there. Support me there. No, no, so it's crazy what we have for equipment now. And I don't know what to think about some of it. I still, as I think we went into kind of detail when we were talking with Rob, my favorite thing is still a good old recorder
Yep,
and a digital camera or camcorder with some good night
yep.
vision. Still the best. I I mean, we have things. We have a REM pod. We have an SLS. We have um an SB7. Do we have an SB7 or is that an
I have
11?
11. I have an
11.
11.
So, we have these toys. Um, but it's hard to say.
Hmm.
What you know, what they're reading. They got Ovulus's out there. You got the honey tone situation now that I've seen some people use.
You got the Devil's Box. You
Oh, you
got
got so
all sorts
much.
of things. The Alice Box.
I mean, you got a
um,
box for everything.
parabolic. Yeah, parabolic microphones.
I mean, and
Thermal.
it's all based on, you know, EMF. A lot of it's based on EMF, at least. The Ovuluses, the REM pods. The I Is there a piece of equipment that we use that you're? I mean, I'm skeptical. This
Oh,
is what happens when you're having a stroke. No, skeptical with
oh,
anything.
there you go.
Yes. Are you skeptical about anything that we use? I mean, I'm skeptical about most of the stuff, right? You have to be. But
Everything.
what's something that maybe, or a device that we got that y- you're not sure about?
The Spirit Box.
That's a good start, I think. Yeah.
That is
Why
the
do you think?
first thing because it sweeps radio stations and it shoots out random words. I mean, seriously, like with the Spirit Box. So I guess that's going to be our first talking point there, the
Yeah,
Spirit Box.
definitely.
I will put pictures on the screen of the equipment that we are talking about briefly while we're talking about it. So the magic of editing. So if you are on Spotify or iHeart, wherever you're listening to the podcast, check out the video version as well. Might even post some of these pictures in our social medias randomly. But Spirit Box, the Spirit Box, whenever we're using it, it has, for me at least, it has to be I put a lot of pressure on it. It has to be so precise if it has to tie directly into the conversation, directly into the location. It can't say, uh, you can't hear black. And I'm like, oh, I have a black shirt, when we're talking about how many
Right.
people are in here. Like for me, there is no topic changers when you're talking or using the spirit box. I don't like the topic changers, and I believe that's what you see in a lot of your para shows,
Yeah.
your YouTube shows, and I understand why they do it. It's to draw your attention and add to the drama. A lot of it is to
Right.
add to the drama and stuff because anyone that doesn't do what we do and you're just watching it because it's a spooky show or it seems interesting, they could be like, you can hear black and oh, I'm wearing a black shirt or glasses, or Corey could be like, how many people are in here, and then you hear glasses and Corey's like, I'm wearing glasses, oh man,
Right.
or I'm like, Corey, you have glasses on. you know for the viewers, you're like, oh man, that does make a lot of sense. How else would it know that? To me, that's irrelevant to the conversation. So I will ask the question again or ask another question, and I won't use that as evidence. I can't, I'm not going to bring it to a homeowner or a location owner, business owner, and say, well, two of my members or my team members were in the attic and they were doing a spirit box session, and they were just asking general questions, and glasses came across, and one of my investigators, Corey, he's the only member on the team that wears glasses, so we thought that was very compelling.
Right.
No, it's not
No,
compelling in the slightest.
not even
You know,
close.
if
Yeah.
Corey asks a question, he's like, um, how many people are in this room? Living people are in this room, and it's just Corey and I in the room, and you hear two. Okay, you have my attention. Can you say one of our names? Corey. Okay. All right. Now we might be onto something. That is extremely precise. And I understand the pressure I put on it because it's like, okay, if you're looking for something that specific, you're never going to find it. But if I don't, then I can't trust it. And that's with a lot of the equipment that we use, to be honest.
Yeah, I see. I think what oh, gosh, I can't remember when it was, but it was back when I was watching a BuzzFeed Unsolved episode, and they were using an SB7, and I remember Ryan going, "Did you hear that?" And Shane's like, all I heard was beep beep blah 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 blah," and I'm like, "Okay, yeah, that's fair," because a lot of times, you hear it go, and
Hmm.
six people will hear different things.
Yes, it's all
You
it
know,
interpretation.
depending, and sometimes is what you want to hear. You got the audio pareidoia that
Yeah.
that happens, which is why people think they go to the Estes method so the person doesn't know, and I guess that can help with that part. But I
Um,
I'm not a huge believer in SB. As much as I used to be, I think I've come back to earth with it. And if I want something to speak with me, I'd rather just do it through EVP if it can do that. If
yeah.
the But if it is a clear, compelling voice that's consistent, then you might have something.
And that was an amazing segue. You brought up the Estes method or sensory deprivation,
Deprivation.
deprivation. The English, where did you go? The English language is hard,
So
but
apparently we're not doing good at all.
yeah, no. So that brings up a good point. The Estes method, sensory deprivation, whatever. Um, deprivation. What, I assure you guys, I'm intelligent, but, what do you think about that? In all seriousness, like with and what if you don't know what that is for the audience or the viewers, the Estes method is you have a spirit box, SB7,
SB7,
SB11,
SB11.
either one, and say you have headphones connected to it versus just listening through the speaker. You have headphones connected to a noise canceling headphones. One person say Corey puts on the headphones. He's listening to the spirit box. He is blindfolded. So his senses are cut off. He can't see anything around him. So say he's doing that. I'm standing across the room or a few feet away, whatever the case may be. Corey is listening to the spirit box on a volume high enough to where he can't hear anything in the room. So when we do this, I'll talk to Corey. I'm like, "Hey, Corey, can you hear me? Can you hear me?" And I'll continue getting louder until I'm not going to scream or anything, but until Corey or whoever is under uh, can no longer hear anything other than what's coming through the headphones. The blindfolds is so Corey can't look at me, read my lips, and know the questions that I'm asking. Uh, we'll just start asking your general questions that we would during an investigation. That might be, like you see on TV, how many people are in here or something tied to the location, so is Mr. So and so here, Mrs. So and so, or are there any children in here? If there's claims that children have passed away there, or whatever the case may be. Um, and the person who has the headphones on, they will audibly speak what they hear through the headphones and will take note of the words that are coming through. So, for example, if I say, is Mr. Jones here with us? If that's, the homeowner that passed away there or whatever, is Mr. Jones here? And if Corey just randomly says, "I'm here," okay, then we'll continue to have this conversation with Mr. Jones. But if I say, "Oh, is Mr. Jones, was this your house?" And then you hear Corey say, "The car." Okay, that's irrelevant. You know, you might see on TV where they're like, "Oh, was the car yours?" I don't care if the car was yours.
That's not what.
That we're not investigating the car, you know? So I'll just
Yeah,
repeat the question,
yeah.
you know, unless there's like a car that fits into the location or the claims in some way, form, or shape. But or we might even say, what is your favorite color? You know, just try to build a rapport or conversation with the spirit. And if Corey says blue, okay, that is relevant to the conversation at hand. Um, how did you die here? I was shot. Okay, relevant. But if I say, how did you die here? Sewing machine. Uh,
That
okay.
could be relevant. What if
It
like
could be if the claim was they, slipped on the sewing machine and stepped on it and it like sewed their throat shut or something. But the point I'm making is like it
it's got to be relevant?
that's not to say that we haven't had success with it. I'll bring up an example when we were at the Jasper jail. We're doing a spirit box session at a certain part of the jail, and Tracy was actually holding the spirit box and asking questions. We weren't doing an SS or anything like that. And it actually, what we believe, it kind of gave directions and then a very clear, I don't believe that it was radio static or anything like that. I mean, it was interesting. Just come through the spirit box and it said, beware in a very, very deep, dark voice.
Yeah, that
That was very interesting.
yeah. That's one that and that was one of Tracy's first real experiences hearing something like that through that device. Um,
Yeah,
and that was, I mean, we were all right there, and that was very clear.
yeah.
That
But
so you do now. I will say one device that I have come to completely disregard, and I will not use one. That's not necessarily Kappa's view. That's just personally my view. Is the Ovilus device? It's too random. It's not worth the money. It spits out. Listen, I the first time I used one, the thing said apple 20 times in a row. Was there a spirit that wanted an apple? Maybe. I just to me, it's something that doesn't make much sense. Um, I think there are better ways to gather evidence that have less eh, holes that you can poke in them. I mean, that one is, and anything really like an Ovilus, they have different word generators of different kinds. I'm just not a fan of those. No kind of evidence you ever bring forth with a word generator like an Ovilus or the sort is ever going to count as evidence for a skeptic. And I
yeah,
personally don't think with a client, whether that client's the Battleship North Carolina or a mom and pop down the street, I'm not going to use that as evidence at any time. So I don't feel like I'm going to waste my time during investigation using one. People have different viewpoints on that. Um, and I have used them before. I mean, personally, not my cup of tea. What do you what's your feelings on those, Kev?
it's mixed. I mean, I completely agree with everything you said. I know and within Kappa, it's mixed. Some people are interested in them. Some people, or some investigators, are not within Kappa. Um, what I spend, what are they going for?
Oh,
$550 now
they're
or something like that?
so
Yeah,
expensive.
I'm not gonna spend that much money. If someone were to gift me one and be like, "Hey, here's an obelisk," I might play around with it. But eh, um, it's just it's too random, and that it goes with the spirit box. Unless it is spot on, like 100% exactly with what I'm talking about. And if I ask a question, How many fingers am I holding up? Three. You know, then it might, pique my ears a little bit, like, oh, okay. But I've seen so many times where how many fingers am I holding up? You don't belong here, or something random, or
Pig.
coffin.
Pig. You-
Yeah, it's like, okay.
it's like if you did that on a ghost hunting show, they said how many fingers am I holding up, and then they said pig, and they'd be like, oh, no way! I once shoved these three fingers up a pig's ass.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
it's freaking Satan. He's here. That's what
yeah,
happened. My thing, is, and you see it all the time. The same thing as the SP7, the spirit boxes, and anything that generates any kind of answer, on the spot. They try to put pieces together that don't fit, either
yeah,
for the drama. I don't know why they do it. Maybe that's really how they look at it, but it looks funny. I mean,
yeah.
it's not how. Um,
It's not how real investigations go.
no, we don't sit there
You
and,
know,
yeah, we.
if Corey and I, or me and Tracy, or Corey and Molly, or whoever, or in a room investigating a room, and say they had a novelist, and they ask a question and they got pig, they wouldn't go, "Oh my God, on the way here, we drove by a farm and I bet you it had pigs."
Right.
You know, they wouldn't do that. They were like, they might be like, "I wonder if, so and so who said to haunt this place may have had a pig farm." And that would probably be the extent of the thought on it, because
Mhm.
it is such a random answer that it wouldn't be worth spending, valuable investigation time trying to link these completely random topics together, you know,
Right.
unless they called the spirit Mr. Pigman.
That would be completely different. That'd be
Yeah.
completely different. You know. Now, okay, so we've talked about some voice word generators. Let's talk about, before we go, at least one more that I think is important in the toolkit. And you heard, uh we talked about this with Rob as well. Uh EMF. And I'm talking our regular, milligauss meters. You could K2. My favorite, the Mel meters. I think they are very good. And whether or not you believe the paranormal is EMF based, electrical based, we have had, success in the past debunking cases, or at least debunking phenomena, with checking for high EMF with these devices. We've done it mostly with the K2 and the milligauss device. We should definitely look into getting a millimeter. That's for another
Yeah.
day. I'd love to have them, and they're not
Yeah.
overly expensive,
No,
comparatively at least.
$70.
Yeah, I'd love to have a Mel. They're fantastic. I used to
So
have.
before we get into the realm of EMF, I want to let everyone know that today's episode is brought to you by Kappa Paranormal. Random ad segue.
Yeah, Kappa, the Coastal Atlantic Paranormal
What
Association.
is what is the Coastal Atlantic Paranormal Association? So, if you visit www.kappaparanormal.com, you'll find a buttload of information, all the information about what is a haunting, the type of hauntings, some that we haven't covered on the show yet, glossary of terms, a lot of information for clients and investigators alike. It is a very informative site. Go there, click on all the links. You'll even find a link to this show on it, as well as a request our help form. So you click on the request our help form, and you'll be presented with a form asking you various questions about your specific case, the severity level, if there's children involved, and you would fill out that form, put in all your information in a detailed manner, everything that you think that we need to know, You hit submit, the form goes directly to me. I send that to our case manager, Molly. She reviews it and she will contact you on your preferred method of contact and have a phone interview with you. We will sit down together and discuss if your particular case needs an investigation or a counseling or just information or someone to talk to. Regardless of what you need, Kappa Paranormal is there. We are 100% free. We do not charge for any of our services. Our research, our investigations is 100% free. So if you are a homeowner or a business owner who feels like your location is haunted or just experiencing things that you can't understand and you need some help, shout out to us, visit our Facebook page, our website, and we will be there day and night, regardless of what you need, regardless where you are. We are located in Central Florida and Southeast Georgia, but we do cover the entire East Coast, but we will help you no matter where you are and what you have going on. Uh, Between the team members, we have well over 30, 35, 40 years of experience with investigating the paranormal. Kappa Paranormal has been a paranormal team since 2008. Um, so yeah, www.kappaparanormal.com, facebook.com/Kappa Paranormal. We are right there, one click away. So
Also,
EMF.
also,
Hmm?
yeah. Well, I was gonna say also, if there was a category and if there was a paranormal awards, we would also be voted sexiest paranormal team. So I mean, right? I mean, oh yeah, I got. Even though people keep telling me I got the Amish beard going on, I don't care. I like it. And so do all the other bitches. Anyway, here we go.
So
But
EMF.
EMF, the world of EMF. So we were talking about the Mel meters, your K2. We don't have a Mel meter, but
We have had one, but
I know
um
we've had. We also had an EM pump. By the way,
yeah.
be careful where you source your EM pumps. It apparently it pumped once and it was done.
Yeah.
It was a one and
Oh,
done
it
kind of
worked.
guy.
It worked for a night.
Not even the
Um
night. I think it
yeah, it died pretty fairly
and then it didn't come
fairly
back
quick.
on recently, a decade later.
Yeah, and then died again. That was interesting.
That's interesting. But a
When
very important tool, right?
yeah, when it comes to the EMF and reading EMF, there you named over quite a few. You know, your REM pods, your millimeters, your trifield meters, your milligauss meters, K2. Honestly, I think my favorite one is just the out of the box K2. Um, I mean, just from what we have used, I do carry like the gauss meter occasionally, but the K2 I think is my favorite one. The REM pod, I'm iffy on it. I do like it, but I think that as far as EMF goes, I don't know why I spaced it out like that, but as far as EMF goes, I really like using it in locations that don't have power, where there would be absolutely no reason
Yeah.
for them to sense any sort of EMF, for them to fluctuate in any reason, where your base reading is going to be a flat like zero point 0.1 or something like that. And sitting on the floor or in a doorway, and no one has their phones with them. So there is nothing like that. The walkie is way over there somewhere, and we know that the walkie isn't setting it off. None of our equipment is setting it off because we do check everything. We go through and we do our baseline readings. We put it around the equipment and make sure that it is completely flat, the baseline wherever we set it. And when you get responses while it is in another location, like when, like I said, okay, sitting in a chair or on a bed or doorway, and it just goes off on command. Um, those I do hold a little bit more stake in. I don't, it might just be we're old school. But because I mean, that's basically, the first thing you got, when we were coming up, we had, digital recorder, video camera. Then our first major piece of equipment that we would buy would be a K2. But um, I do hold a little bit more stake in those versus your SLS or SB7s or Ovilus or anything like that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
Um,
I agree with you on that. Yeah, I
what is
think
your favorite version of an EMF reader or meter?
oh, definitely the millimeter. And I only say the millimeter because it does so much. Millimeters now have their own built-in REM pods. They have, they have temp. You have different versions. Well, you can also, I guess that's the same with the Gauss meters too. They have the different settings on how sensitive the meter is. Um,
Yeah,
but I've always loved the millimeter. I actually think the K2 is my least favorite. Um,
really.
yeah, I'd go with a Gauss meter before I'd go with the K2. K2 is great. I have nothing against any of those. I think that they're all reading the same basic thing. I just like seeing the number more than the
Mm.
lights. I think the number helps get in my opinion. But K2, I K2s are great too. I have nothing against them.
I think the reason I like the K2 because I completely agree with the Gauss meter. That is my second go-to, but the one that we currently have doesn't have an LED backlit screen or anything like that. So
That's fair.
when we're reading it, there's a flashlight. I don't like using flashlights on investigations. Have one, yes. Using it constantly, no. Um, that's another topic that we can talk about in a future episode as well, is in why do we investigate in the dark? And that answer will be brought up in there is the reason I don't like using flashlights. However, with the K2, you don't need a flashlight, and I do like to sit it somewhere else. I don't like holding it because you rattle it and it can give off false positives.
Yeah.
Um, so sitting it, you can kind of like, okay, K2 is going off, and you're seeing it over there, and no one's touching it. But with the Gauss meter, definitely it has like you can pinpoint the spikes, but you have to see it. If we were to have an LED backlit, but then that goes kind of like if you're adding so much stuff or components to the EMF detector, I question it a little bit more.
Sure.
You know, if it has like
Absolutely.
all these electrical opponents in it, I don't want to, I'm not an electrical engineer, but I wouldn't want it to give itself false positives.
One
And I think
thing
that's just the way my mind
One
works or
one thing
goes
I,
to.
I will say that I don't like about the K2, and I do agree that there's different uses.
You're gonna quit dogging my
K2,
K2.
I know,
I'm messing.
but I think you'll agree with me on this because we every time we get some crazy spikes, what are we doing? We're checking our phones. Is anyone
Oh
phone
yeah,
before we make sure? I think it can the where it does that kind of reading doesn't show up on the Gauss meter. It's less likely to get a false positive. I think that's why I like it. But you are correct in the case that the K2 is better for okay, I can sit it over there and I can ask questions and see if anything sets it off. And
right.
I agree there.
And if you go back to when I was talking about it, like I said, like, we've checked the equipment, no one has their phones with them. That way we can kind of control the environment a little bit more. I remember when I don't remember when I eased up on phones. I think it was before you joined. I did have everyone keep their phones like in the car or put away while on investigations just because of that.
Um,
Phones, especially these days, they're constantly, even if you have it on airplane mode or do not
yeah,
disturb or whatever, it's constantly sending and receiving data. So it can give off false positives on numerous equipment. But yeah, I
definitely.
mean, I like a lot of versions of the EMF readers, but I
I
think
don't
K2 is definitely my go-to just because I might just be old school too.
true
It has that
and
old school look.
sometimes I forget about the old school tri-field meters
Yeah.
and you can't forget the little like ghost kit little with a red top to it like bing! It's
Oh,
all the
yeah.
noise. Can't forget those two that are in those ghost hunting starter kits.
Yeah, and oh man, it might be weird because they're essentially the same device, but and it might be the same one that you're thinking about, but there's one called the Ghost Meter. And it's literally just a K2, but just, in a different casing. And it has the tri-field meter type gauge, and it has that little red top on it, and it lights up like green or something whenever it
Yeah,
goes off.
we're
I
talking about
don't
the
trust
same
that
one.
more than I can. Oh, I don't trust that more than I can throw it.
I-
And I'll tell you why. Because it says ghost meter. Anything that
yeah,
says that it looks for a ghost, I don't trust it.
that's fair. I would rather
Just like
use
these
something.
apps.
Right. I would rather use something so a lot of like the K2 meters that we use, they're used in electrical fields or used in different kinds of fields.
Mhm.
I believe the K2s we're using now were retrofitted for paranormal
Yeah,
investigators, but like the concept behind them
yeah.
is isn't
They roughly stayed the same.
right.
But yeah.
Gauss meters are used in other fields. Uh,
Mhm.
you could even go. I've seen investigators use those big yellow boxes. Gosh, what are those things? They detect radiation.
EDI? Oh, the Geiger counter?
Geiger counter. Yep, I've seen that used. But you got that little flimsy thing that says a ghost meter. Yeah, I agree.
Anything that says ghost meter or ghost finder or ghost anything, I don't trust more than I can throw it.
And now that you said
That's just
ghost,
me personally.
hey, no, I honestly I don't even get that can be you personally. That should be just across the field in general. I'll put my foot down on that one. Uh,
You heard it here, folks. Corey's foot down.
down.
Throw
It's
out your
actually
ghost meters.
my foot is on the floor. It is down right now, guys, all the way.
Wow.
And just as said, Ghost Finder, and we have messed around with this
Oh God.
app.
Yeah, yeah. I think everyone has played with those apps and they are trash.
Yes,
They're trash.
I remember the
Delete
little.
them. If you have them on your phone, delete them. If they had the radar with a little red dot that says a ghost is that way, the bigger the red dot, the more intense or angry the ghost is.
But
It is false and it's lying to you. It's trash. Delete it. Uninstall your phone. Go buy a new phone. Get a Samsung. I don't know why I just went
I'll read out
Samsung.
into the paranormal against Apple.
Yeah,
I'm okay
but
with that.
no. Yeah.
An Android guy myself, but yeah, it don't. If you want to use them for fun, yeah, use them for fun. They're fun. I don't.
Yeah, but don't hold any weight in it at all.
No way, none at all. I mean, I,
And that's the worst thing I see on YouTube. Like, all right, we're gonna get off topic. I know we're gonna wrap it up really soon, but I brought it up a few episodes ago. Um, Omar Gosh,
yes,
TV.
yep.
We've been watching his Alone series. Entertaining, definitely, definitely entertaining. Has a cool concept. It goes against one of Kappa's core beliefs, where we don't send anyone alone. Unless you're Corey, then I will send Corey alone into the darkest, deepest
Happen.
pits of
Go back a few.
anywhere.
We talk about what happened on the battleship. What will be happening,
Yeah.
but
So, but he has a series called Alone, Paranormal Edition, or something like that. Definitely recommend. Go check it out. It's entertaining. But almost every single, I believe every single one, it's 16 investigators. They go to 16 different locations, and Omar locks them in there for, I don't know if it's all night, but an extended period of time. And it's either until the investigation is over or until that particular investigator taps out and can't do it anymore. I swear to God, I don't know why I blue screen whenever I start talking about something because I was going to mention like the locations they were in. I know one is like in Octagon Hall. One is in um, the Sally House. The guy River from Twin Paranormal, he is in the Sally House by himself, locked in there, and he actually did a really good job. But all the investigators they used their phones and they used various Spirit Talker apps. I believe that's one of the apps that's called Spirit Talker, but they use different apps that are used basically like um, spirit boxes, and they're trash. And they do that same thing that you see on these para shows where um, like it'll say something and they're like, oh my God, such and such, and they'll tie this story together. It's like, oh, come on. Throw those apps away. Just use a digital recorder. A few of them do use digital recorders. Shout out to them. They know how to investigate. But don't know what we were talking about. Oh, that's what and it's a lot of YouTube shows. I just brought up the Omar thing because I believe that's worth a shout out. It's really good. The production value and everything. I like Omar anyway. I think he's a cool guy. Never met him, so no bias there, no endorsement. It's just I give off. He seems like a cool guy, but it's various YouTube shows. They don't do it too much on like the TV shows or whatever, but you always see like these paranormal investigators and they're using their phone. And I get you don't have the money for equipment, understand it, but your phone has a voice recorder. Use that.
It also has the ability to take pictures and video and
Yes, your phone,
can
as
do.
much as I am against using your phone during investigations, your phone is a great investigation tool. You can even, I know I just said you might have the money for it, but you can even buy thermal adapters that attach into your phone. And it's not your phone using thermal, it's like a camera itself. And it just records onto your phone and streams it to your phone
That's
so you can
I
see it. So you,
we have one, and that's by Flare, and it does a great job.
yes. Yeah. But yeah, point is those apps are trash. Stop using them.
And we have more equipment, and we'll definitely do another episode on equipment because there's so much more. We didn't even get to cameras and one of the cameras being another thing I think is trash. You'll have to stick around for another episode to see what I think is the one of the biggest BS pieces of equipment in the field.
And you can see all the ones that we have in person right in front of you if you check us out at on September 29th at the Camden County Public Library or October 7th at the Deltona Regional Library. You can see various, like, we have a lot of equipment right there and learn how to use it, learn what it does, and hear amazing stories and a ton of information from us by us.
Definitely, we hope
So, yeah.
to see you there, and to see you next week too, because that topic is going to be a paranormal investigator's nightmare. It's a nightmare. And do you know what that nightmare is? The how and why, and the reason that we will never quite understand, well, what we're doing. And that's sad, but it's the truth. And we'll explain why next episode. Uh, so it's been a great episode. If you guys have any questions, equipment wise, or want us to talk about other pieces of equipment that we did not talk about, remember we will do another episode because we got other pieces we want to talk about, including the piece of crap that I want to talk about. But if there are ones that you really want us to talk about, put them in the comments section. Talk to us, hit us up. There's ways you can reach out to us. Remember, with your stories. We would love to get another story from our viewers. You can submit that or anything really to intotheparanormalpod@gmail.com. You can message us as well on our Facebook. That's facebook.com/intotheparanormalpodcast. Um, and yeah, you can reach out those ways. You can also, if you want to reach out to me, facebook.com/Corey Beam. I look like myself in the Facebook picture. I don't do X, never have. I know it's changed now. But those are a couple ways you can reach out to Into the Paranormal. And Kevin, how can they reach out to Kappa again? And how can they find you?
You can go to www.kappaparanormal.com. That is our main website, or facebook.com/Kappa Paranormal. You can reach Kappa on Twitter. I'm going to continue saying Twitter, at Kappa Paranormal. Hang out with me on Twitter, Kevin L_Kappa. I remembered it this time. I can never remember my own handle on Twitter, But yeah, that is all my social links. Let me know, let us know down in the comments, what was your favorite piece of equipment? Do you agree with the things that we said? Maybe you really, really, really like spirit boxes. And if we offended anyone, sorry, not sorry. It's our opinion.
Right.
You know, you're entitled to yours, we're entitled to ours. This is based off of years of experience in the field. You might have years of experience in the field as well, because you know some of our listeners may be investigators as well, and maybe you just are lucky and get better results with the spirit box. But that will just about do it. Do you have any final concerns, questions, comments?
No, no, I don't think I do, Kevin. I think I'm just happy to be back. I'm and happy that everybody tuned in. Our last episode is through the roof with views, and happy
Yeah,
Tracy.
shout out to Tracy.
Yeah, happy.
She did great.
Come on, she did a fantastic job.
Yes.
Some love in the comments, guys. She's great. She's a fantastic investigator too. Um,
Yes, she was nervous to get on. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much for sticking around and comment on this video as well. But show Tracy some love on our last video because she's super shy. That was her first time actually on video, on audio. She did great. So show her some love in the comments. Let her know that she's amazing.
and guys, we're episode 11. I wasn't there for 10, but we're in double digits, so it's not and
Yeah,
we're gaining steam, and it's a lot of fun. We love doing these, and we're going to continue doing them because we don't care what you think. We no, we do. We just
we do.
no.
So speaking of what you think, it would help us out a lot if you would rate us 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts, wherever you're listening to this right now. If you're listening to the podcast version, please rate us 5 stars. Throw us a review. We really do appreciate it. We're trying to do the best that we can. We are just starting out. We are very new to podcast and podcast video on YouTube, so bear with us. It's only going to get better from here, guys. If you are watching on YouTube, hit that like button. It sounds cringy, so I'm being honest. Like, yeah,
Smash that
I'm being,
button. Hit that
yeah.
bell so it dings you when we have videos on
Yeah, so
7.
hit the like button, ring the doorbell, ring the bell, so you'll be notified whenever we upload content. Let us know in the comments down below what you think. And thank you so much for hanging around this long. We can't wait to see you guys on the next one. So without further ado, I have been Kevin Leonard. That has been Corey Beam, and this has been Into the Paranormal.
Bye bye. Stay spooky.